The old saying, cash is king, is as relevant today as it's ever been as we go into this new post-pandemic business environment. Hi, I'm Chris Cracknell, Chairman of Grant Thornton here in Thailand. You don't need to be an expert to understand how businesses operate or why they can potentially go into meltdown. There's really two key ingredients. You either generate cash in blue or you consume cash in red. Let's look at the component parts, and we can analyse this in the way of a street trader here in Bangkok selling food or goods in the market. It's all about how you control your costs and manage your cash flow. So on one side we have our revenues on the blue. This is our top line. This is where we're generating our sales. This is the lifeblood of the essence of the business, why we're in business, to sell things, to make things happen. And then we've got costs, either our direct costs or our overheads. These are in red. These are consuming cash. They burn cash, take cash out of the business. So we need to manage these in ratio. We need to manage our costs against our revenue to get things to drop down to the bottom of the page and convert it into cash. If we're not converting into cash, maybe we have to borrow from the banks or introduce other shareholders or do other things. But eventually cash will run out and business will go into meltdown or close. Next, we've got to look at the positive of gross margin. Our gross margin is another key element, and this is looking at the individual elements that we sell, whether it's a course, whether it's a product, a car, or anything. And we then need to look at our direct costs. If we get our direct costs in proportion to our revenue, we make a great gross margin. If we then control our overheads, we're going to be generating some cash or profit at the bottom of the page, which should eventually at some point in the future lead to cash generation. But of course it's not quite as simple as that. We've also got existing customers. Existing customers are great. They're the people we can go to sell. We need to grow new customers, we have existing customers, we have past customers. These are all sources for us to generate revenue at the top here, all blue and positive. These are all great things. Existing customers, we need to understand them. How do they work? What are they looking to buy? How do they want to buy it? Let's understand these things, understand our existing customers. But there's also a cost outflow here, or a cash outflow, in achieving that knowledge. We need to sell. We need to understand the market. We need to do market research. We have marketing spend to make people aware that we exist. They need to be aware of what we're selling and why it's better than a competitor. This is all a cost. And these costs here are all negatives against our positives in blue on the other side. So we have to manage everything in ratio. But you can, of course, spend early on your marketing. And yes, you consume cash. But if you build up your existing clients and new clients, then you start to generate the revenues and your costs all fall back into ratio and the way we want to see it. So that brings us very nicely onto the other key element around cash, our working capital. We want to tie up the least amount of working capital in the business as possible. So working capital could go into a factory or a production unit. It can go into debtors, and I've chosen debtors as my biggest cash consumer that we can most simply control within most of our businesses. If we get paid by our clients on time, and we satisfy the ratio of overheads, direct costs, and we've got our customers established and in place. If we can then control being paid on time, then we should be able to generate cash. It's a simple model that our street trader uses, our market trader uses every day. So what happens if we move towards a meltdown scenario? If we're not generating the revenues, then our costs of running our business are going to get too high. There's nothing coming in to pay for those overheads. There's nothing coming in to pay for those direct costs. We need our revenues to survive. And if we take them off the table, then suddenly our overheads get far, far too high, and we have to realign our overheads to our new revenue figure. If we lose our gross margin, if our direct costs become too great, then again, we've got nothing left to pay for the overheads or for the business or generate a profit. So we must keep those in control. If we lose either side of those, our business will go into meltdown, and we need to get onto that quickly and have a remedial position to save the company. If we lose our clients because they're going elsewhere, if they're going to a competitor with a better solution or newer ideas, then again, our business is going to go into meltdown and we're going to fall apart. We need our customers. And if we don't sell and market to these customers, they won't understand what we've got. And if we don't have customers, we frankly don't have a business. And lastly, our working capital. If we let that get out of control and we consume too much cash in the business and we're not going anywhere, we're just unable to generate any cash for the end of the day. And if we don't generate cash, we're not a successful business ultimately. We can survive short term, we can go to the bank and borrow, as I've said, or we can bring in other shareholders. But ultimately the judgment is about generating cash. So if we want to keep everything in balance, we've got to look at how we manage our overheads, our direct costs, our sales and marketing, our debtors and other areas that we consume working capital. You want as much flexibility in your business model as possible as we go into this new post-COVID business environment. Suggestions would include: be clear about what overheads you actually want to have in your business and what you can outsource and have flexibility with. Focus on core, outsource non-core. Your direct costs, understand how they're built up. Can you use technology to become faster, more efficient, or create new sales routes to your clients? Sales and marketing. Have you repositioned? Have you told your clients you're still in business after the pandemic? Are they aware of what you're selling, what you're focused on? Are they aware that you can give them solutions that they're looking for to help their businesses be more successful? You need to make your clients aware. Sales and marketing are critical to create that awareness. And lastly, the big area. Cash is going to be tight. You need to be paid by your clients. Otherwise, you're tying up money in working capital. Unless your business is a bank, you're not here to lend them money. So get that money collected, bring the cash back in, and the sale is not complete until you've been paid by the client. If you can remember these simple ingredients into running the business all around cash, in the same way as our street traders do, as our market traders do here in Bangkok, then your business can be successful. Yes, we can make a business model as complicated as you like. We can introduce as many factors as you want and as many variances, complicate it with tax, complicate it with depreciation, complicate it with other investments, different forms of shareholding, etc. But ultimately, a business has to generate cash at some point in its future time to show it is a worthwhile business. Cash is the lifeblood of the organization. Cash is what we should be focused on, especially as cash might become tight in this post-COVID era. Focus on cash and let's be successful together. Thank you.